Alright guys, let's do our third page of these additional trig questions. This next one, number 5, we have an angle of 22. We have a, it looks like an adjacent of 60. And we're looking for both the hypotenuse and we're looking for the hypotenuse and opposite, sorry. Okay, so let's see. Adjacent and angle are both found right here. So we can find the hypotenuse here first by using this cosine relationship. So that should be equal to the adjacent over the cos of the angle. So that's equal to 60 over cos of 22 degrees. And if we drop that into our calculator here, let's see, we've got 60 divided by the cos of 22, close brackets, and that gives us 64.71. And I'm not going to round up because this third decimal place is a 2. Okay, so 64.71. Okay, next one, we've got the opposite that we're looking for. The opposite, and what do we know? We know the angle and we know the adjacent. So just using the values that we that we know, might be best to use tan. So in order to find the opposite, that's the tan of the angle times the adjacent. So tan of the angle times our adjacent. Our angle is 22 degrees. Our adjacent is 60. And so the opposite, let's drop that into the calculator here. So we have tan of 22, close brackets, times 60, gives us 24.24. Again, we're not going to round up because this third decimal place here is a 1. Beauty. Okay, so we found that the hypotenuse was 64.71 and the opposite was 24.24. Very nice. Okay, let's do the next one. We'll do that later, thank you. Number 6, what do we got? Angle, we've got the adjacent here of 25, and we're looking for the hypotenuse. Let's grab this and bring this down here now so we can use that and reference it. Where'd it go? Beauty. Okay, now we're set up. Okay, so now we've got to find the hypotenuse. So for this guy, most likely we will use cos, right? Because we're looking for the hypotenuse, we've got the angle, we've got the adjacent, and those guys are all in this ratio right here. So again, the hypotenuse is equal to the adjacent over the cos of the angle. Our adjacent in this case is 25. The angle is 60 degrees. And that gives us, so let's see, 25 divided by the cos of 60, close brackets, gives us 50. Okay, so hypotenuse is 50. And then let's see, the opposite. Well, the opposite we usually use sine, but we calculated that value for the hypotenuse. So let's use the given values with the angle and the adjacent, and we'll use tan in that case in order to find the value. So this guy's going to be equal to, come on, tan of the angle times the adjacent. And let's see, our angle is 60 degrees. We're going to multiply that by our given value of 25. So tan of 60 times 25. That gives us 43.3. So as long as you've memorized these ratios here, you're good to go. You just slowly walk through, see the values that you have, see the one value that you're looking for, and then decide whether you're going to use sine, cos, or tan. Okay, let's do the next one. So for number 7, we've got the hypotenuse. Let's bring this up here so we can refer to it. And it's out of the way. So we've got the hypotenuse here of 100. And we've got this guy as the opposite. So we're looking for the adjacent. Well, we haven't used Pythagoras yet, so let's use that. So we'll do 100 squared minus the 20 squared. And we'll do double brackets around everything and take the square root of those guys. So let's see if we can plot this into the calculator here. Okay, so we're going to do the square root. Oops. Okay, we'll do double brackets. We'll do the square of 100 minus the square of 20. Okay, and then we'll do our close brackets. That gives us 97.979. So this third decimal place here is a 9, so we'll round this up to an 8. So 97.98. Nice. Okay, so now we've got the adjacent at 97.98. And you can see that the hypotenuse and the adjacent are almost identical. So that means that our angle is going to be fairly shallow. So let's see, our given values are the opposite and the hypotenuse. And it looks like sine uses those two to create that ratio there. So in order to find this angle, using our given values, I mean there's 3 different ways we can find this, but using our given values, we'll use sine. And in order to find the angle, again, we have to take the inverse sine of that ratio. Okay, so our opposite is 20, our hypotenuse is 100. And before we plot anything in there, we know that because this is so small compared to this angle should be really shallow. So let's see. We've got the second function, sine, so the inverse sine of 20 divided by 100, close brackets, gives us, nice. Remember we were looking for a shallow angle, right? So 11.53, third decimal place is above 5, so we'll round that up to 11.54. Right on. Hopefully everything's going all right and you're following along and you're getting the same answers here. Let's do one more. So let's bring this bad boy down here so we can reference it again. Okay, so actually let's bring it over here so we can get it out of the way. Excellent. Okay, what do we got? We got the adjacent. No, we don't have the adjacent. We have the opposite. And we've got the angle and we're looking for the hypotenuse. Okay, well in that case, hopefully this is clicking in quickly now. We should be using the sine ratio, right? The sine ratio, in order to find the hypotenuse, we have the opposite, which is known at 45. We have the angle at 35 degrees. So we can use those two in order to find our hypotenuse. So our hypotenuse should be equal to the opposite over the sine of the angle. Our opposite is what? 45. The angle is 35 degrees. And so we'll plot that into our calculator here. So we got 45 divided by the sine of 35, close brackets, gives me 78.45. So it's 78.455. So because this is a 5, then we'll round this up to 78.46. The beauty of trig is that you can always go back and double check your values, right? When we found the hypotenuse to be 50, adjacent to be 25, and the opposite to be 43.3, then we can use 25 squared plus 43.3 squared square root to find a value of 50. You can always go back and double check all of your answers here. Okay, last one, we need to find the adjacent. We just found this guy to be 78.46. Okay, and we need to find the adjacent, and usually in order to find the adjacent we use cos, but let's look at the values that are given. I wasn't given the hypotenuse, so using this given value and the angle looks like I'm using tan. So in order to find the adjacent, it's going to be the opposite over the tan of the angle. Okay, the opposite is 45. The angle is 35. And let's punch this last one in. So we got 45 divided by the tan of 35. Now be careful when you have values that are close, like 35 and 45. It's easy to get dyslexic and switch those around. So let's just make sure the angle is 35 and the opposite is 45. Beauty. So that guy is 64.266. Because this is a 5 or greater, we'll put this to 64.27. Excellent. All right, guys, thanks for your patience. We finished off this third one. Let's just keep rocking and rolling. So go to the fourth video now.